You're listening to LA40 with Katerina Cozias, only on LA Talk Radio.
All right, I am so excited this morning. Even my voice is cracking because, for a number of reasons. Number one, it's Thursday, so you're here with us again at LA40, streaming on LA Talk Radio, and we are in the rain today. It's winter in Los Angeles. I don't know. I think it's winter everywhere unless you're tuning in from Australia, in which case it is summer. But one of the reasons I am so excited, and I am your host, Katerina Cozias, for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, want to welcome you to what I know is going to be an amazing show, because we are going deep today into fifth dimensional living. We are going deep into elevated consciousness. We are going deep into an acceptance and an appreciation of your personal truth. And so I am super delighted to share our guest for today with you, Miss Michelle Marie Matich. Michelle.
Oh, Katerina, isn't she amazing?
I love it because I'm amazing, she's amazing, you're amazing. We have some good, amazing vibes today.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure.
I'm going to let people know who the heck you are. Now, many of you are joining us on Facebook. What I love, Michelle, is this social digital world that we live in. LA Talk Radio is number 8 out of the top 50 talk radio stations in the country.
Well deserved,
So
I'm sure.
we have a team here that, they've got a mission, they have a passion, and they have a purpose. Part of my purpose is to help share conversation that is going to elevate you and your day and your life. I made a conscious commitment. Part of my unique gift and brilliance is to share this platform and my ability to share and connect your story. What I want to do is share your story today. So for those of you who might be following us on Facebook, you probably know Michelle because it's a little incestual community in Facebook, right?
Yes, it is.
For those of you who may be joining us internationally and you don't know Michelle, Michelle is a Hollywood event producer. She is part of the team that is producing an event called City Summit and Gala. Now, I do need to give a big shout out to you and the team because Inc. magazine just ranked this conference the #1 conference in America to attend in 2019. So good on you and the team, Mr. Ryan Long, and everyone at City Summit and Gala. Super excited to hear about that. You have a professional career, you have a professional life, you are part of the real world, and yet you are not.
And yet I am not.
Yeah.
I am in this world, but I am not of this world like many of us are feeling right now. So thank you for allowing me a space to share my authentic self. And I'm just really honored to be here with you, specifically you today. Katerina and I have a very special, spiritual connection. I do know that we are both one of the 144,000 chosen ones who are here to shift us into the new world. And I just am so honored that you are able to share your light so brightly that you literally ignite the flames in everyone who comes into your space. So I want to honor you for that. I am actually, to be honest, let me just share really authentically. It's such a deep, unique story that I didn't share it for so many years. I've shared pieces with a few people, but I've really remained rather quiet because I was so fearful of looking crazy. And at this point, I'm really okay looking crazy. So we're going to go into this for sure.
We're going to go into a little bit of crazy. So thank you for that.
Yes.
And likewise, part of why I'm excited, and you could feel that, is Michelle is a person who has had a very, I don't even know the word. I don't want to call it an interesting life, but a very, what normal people would call a very roller coaster life. And we're going to have her share her story in just a minute. And I'd really love you to keep tuning in with us because it's so incredibly powerful. But what I want to do before we start the conversation is frame a little bit of where this conversation is going and why. So a lot of people out there are feeling a shift in consciousness, especially those of us that are living out on the West Coast. But there are lots of areas around the world that are activated, that are being activated. And they're being activated into what a lot of people are calling fifth dimensional consciousness.
Can you feel that?
So I can. I mean,
I'm
literally.
This is fun.
I'm literally feeling the elevation and the lightening of the frequency in the air. Right. I mean, my body is doing this of its own accord. So what I'd love for you to do first is just for the people at home that may not be as in tune with this type of conversation. Third dimension versus fifth dimension. Where are we taking them? And what is it about your story that is going to be so important for them to understand, because it really is the future, in my opinion.
It is absolutely the future. And I want to say the best way to describe shifting from 3D to 5D is we're shifting from a world where we are all separated and we are all into our mind versus into our heart. So in the 5th dimension, we actually care about the person. Their
concept, right?
Yeah, their business is important too, but it's really in depth of who the person is into their heart space. And also what's really neat about the new 5D Earth, actually, I've gone into many dimensions, so we can go much deeper than 5D, but 5D is very beautiful because it's the best way I can describe it is in The Wizard of Oz when Dorothy shifted from black and white into color. We're shifting from color into glitter. So it's going into being able to see energy, being able to hear other dimensions, being able to see with your third eye the truth of somebody. So it's really important to be living an authentic life, because as we grow into the new 5D Earth, we're going to see everyone for exactly who they are, and what that will be is seen as innocence. Anyone who has not been living with an awakened consciousness, in my eyes, I see them as innocent, because when you wake up, you can't go back into that unawakened state, but you just have to embrace who you were and activities that you once you're not necessarily proud of, but it was what God, the universe, sent you through in order to wake up. The kids right now who are going through trauma, in order to reach an activated, awakened state, the trauma induced actually allows for your light body to leave your physical body. So you get to go travel the universe. So when I went through abuse as a child and those type of things, my light body got to travel. So when I woke up, I all of a sudden knew things that this Google cannot tell you. So that's the best way I can describe it.
So what I'd love you to do, thank you for that, is talk a little bit about your personal journey, because you touched on it right now. So you grew up regular little kid, except that you weren't. Talk to me a little bit about your childhood.
Sure. The day that I was born, my mom, she held me and she looked down at me and said out loud, "There you are. I haven't seen you in a really long time." And she said, she shares with me this story now, that it was the weirdest day of her life, because why would she say that to a baby she's never met? And my mom said since I was a child, I had reading comprehension issues, so I was told that I couldn't read. I was told that my schooling wasn't going to match requirements. A lot of what I was supposed to be as a normal person, I wasn't succeeding at. However,
at the traditional sense of what success is supposed to look like.
Right.
Being good, like I've said before, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Right. But everyone loved me. So I was really blessed with everyone just loved me. I was a very likable person.
Well, you still are.
Yeah, thank you. And so I grew up in Reno, Nevada. Kind of was a loner, but everyone knew me. Very, very popular, but just still kind of was on my own. And I went into, my father struggled with addiction. He is now sober. I love sharing this time with my family, because now where we are is so different than where we used to be. So my parents were both addicts. My mother had a heartbreak from my father and from just a lot of disconnect. And a lot of abuse, a lot of trauma. My very first best friend was kidnapped and murdered in second grade.
How old were you? Oh my goodness.
Second grade.
7 years old.
Yeah, and so when you start to see, they're looking for her bones, and how do you explain that to a child?
Wow.
Yeah. And then I had another friend who passed away in high school, so a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of trauma. It ended up leading me into a college life. I got a full ride scholarship to college for singing a 13-page Italian aria, but then your reading requirements don't fit the requirements for the school. And I didn't even remember that trauma. I didn't even remember how much heartbreak I had from just not being able to go to college.
From having them pull the scholarship
having pulled
that they
the
just
scholarship.
gave to you.
Yeah. I didn't even realize that till my awakening.
Wow.
So when my awakening came, I got to tour my whole life of all of the trauma that I had been through and what shut me down. So it literally led me into drug addiction, homelessness, abuse. I ended up living the party life of the Hollywood girl, where your lashes are big and your hair is huge and you don't care about anybody but you and you're the best. And then I woke up and I realized I had no idea who I was. And when you wake up to realize that you have no idea who you are, you've got a lot of work to do.
Thank you for sharing that. You talked about awakening, and I want to just frame this for people because you went through that period, the homelessness, the addiction, and suddenly you woke up. And I want you to talk a little metaphorically about what does that look like? What does that mean? And was it like one day you just thought, oh, I'm a different person, here we go? Or was it, one day you woke up under a bridge? Explain awakening for me and how that felt to you in comparison to what, I don't want to call it a past life, but the past chapter.
Yeah, it is a past life. It is, you are literally reborn into a new consciousness, because I don't know who had a hold of my body that whole part, but it definitely is not this woman
So
who
you
I
had
am
some
today.
dark years like that. When you
really
say that whole
dark.
part, you're talking about those few. How long did that last? 3 years, 5 years? 2
It
years?
was between, I want to say, a good 5, 6. The depth of my improper mindset, I had no idea what mindset was. So now that I'm aware of that, when I look back, I'm like, I'm not sure I was ever really on point, but I believe the real dark space was a good 6 years. I was in a full dark space. Literally, I don't know that I was even here for about 3 years. So the awakening process is really, for a lot of people, will be longer than mine. I was told by my spirit guides that my awakening process was about 1 week, a little over that, the depth of it, and it was very painful and very necessary. But the awakening process looks like you start to just have more emotion. So you start feeling your energy cycling. You start feeling nervous around certain people because they have stuff on them. So you're starting to feel a little more sensitive. And one of the things that triggered my awakening, the property I was living on, I'm not sure what the activity, I don't know that it was all legal. I don't know what was really going. I was there literally because they gave me a place to stay, and I was staying there. And I was helping with this beautiful little girl who lived there. And I believe that God sent me, I know that God sent me to that family because they needed a metaphysical Mary Poppins. So
Enter Michelle.
I didn't know that I would actually be pulled into a little bit of that darkness as well. So the drug use, the abuse, the verbal abuse, those type of activities, and working on bringing my light into a dark space. I fell into their dark space as well, and a lot of addiction. And then I remember going to Walmart.
Okay.
And this was a trigger spot for me. So I went to Walmart and I wanted makeup, because when you are unawakened, you need to put something on. Not saying makeup's bad,
Right, yeah.
but you need to put something on because you don't really know who you are. So you got to cover up something. That's the best way. That's what I love about Alicia Keys for going makeup free.
Right.
That takes a lot of guts in this world right now.
As a woman, especially a woman in California.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I stole it was like 2.99 cents eyeliners. And I love that we can reach. There are some people who've gone through homelessness that are going to be like, I did that too. They're going to know, because you do stuff that it doesn't make sense. But I stole some 99 cents eyeliner, some powdered makeup, weird stuff that I did. And I just remember when I walked out to the car, I said, I'll pay the universe back later. And that's what I said, because I felt so guilty. And I didn't know that I could make money. I didn't know. I literally wasn't even in the space of understanding this world. I was not from this planet, and I was not aware that I was not from this planet. So then that trigger point, I think just letting the universe know I'll pay you back later, and all of a sudden I think they're like, yeah, you will.
You will now.
And I felt energetic penetrations. Wow. And the property that I was on, it was the 2 properties, and one of them was full of metal. The other had tons of power. It was a grow house, so lots of power operation. And all of a sudden, I started seeing the matrix, like energy. So I started seeing that when you turn the microphone this way, it shoots in. So everything, the way that it's moved, I started seeing the energy coming out of everything, and I started seeing nanoparticles. Okay, so the first thing you want to do when you start seeing nanoparticles is you want to quit everything. You're officially insane. So
no more hard drugs, no more prescription drugs, no more nothing.
And I wasn't, luckily, I mean, it's so fun because I wasn't hearing anything.
Now, were you scared? I just want to back up for a second, because you're walking around life, you think you're normal, you're maybe in a dark place, and all of a sudden you start seing light.
And then the angel army shows up. and just to be clear, actually, the light penetration started, it took about about a month for the real energy to appear. My awakening took about a week, but the energy started filling, and I started noticing lights were brighter, like more energy was coming through stuff. And all of a sudden I start getting energetically penetrated, and I start hearing voices, and the voices are numbers. So I start, of course, adding. I feel like there's got to be movies about this with Jim Carrey where he's adding up all the numbers and trying to figure out the world. Right. So and then I start calling the numbers because I'm like, maybe it's a phone number. Maybe the person needs to get a hold of me. I mean, it's absolutely insane and so beautiful how far I've come. And then finally, my spirit guides chimed in and they said, you have no idea how important you are to this planet. You are so beautiful. You have never been told how beautiful you are. You are so kind. You have never been told how kind you are. You are a very good person, and you are here to serve a very important mission. And they started sharing with me that the place that I was on at the time was the first star family, meaning that God sent me as his angel light worker to a family to help them see hope and light. And so
do you feel you did that?
I know I did, and I look forward to the time where I can help to serve them even more because they're still struggling with their own addictions and their stuff. And it's hard when you're in that dark space to feel that there is hope, but I know that the universe will continue to supply me with visions and people to help serve this new world where alien takeover, where spiritual takeover, where we really need to go back into that old school way of just helping each other out and loving each other. And when somebody is doing wrong, you don't judge them because that is not your job. And this new world, judgment will boomerang back to you so quickly. So just really, life is either love or a call to love. And I believe that God sent me here as a call to love. So.
You are so lovely.
Thank you.
And I know the courage it takes to share this story because I also know there are times and there are people that have said, she's just crazy, right? You're crazy. What do you say when someone says, you're crazy?
You know, I'm definitely one of the weird ones. So I'm actually this. I love that we're here. We're here together right now because we've had some special spiritual moments together. And what I really love is I'm sitting here being quiet about this story because I'm so fearful of the judgment. And that's actually what's delaying the wake up of the planet. So me staying quiet is actually what
not
was
serving anyone.
Not serving anyone and not serving my heart space. And to be honest, I have downloaded so much information that I need to start sharing it and providing light to a lot of things that look confusing. Like the autistic community is the fantastic community. They have tons of gifts to share. We're just waiting to get them activated to the level of consciousness that can serve the planet. I'm so excited to show you guys what's coming soon. I got to see with my third eye. So my third eye shows me, they told me, my spirit guide said, stop eating certain food. The food is poison right now. You can't do GMOs. You can't do pesticides. I mean, they just gave me freezer burn food, the hormones. So they said, you got to change your diet. And they showed me with my third eye what I will look like in the future.
Okay. Oh, how
and they showed me. I mean, they showed me all sorts of different things. I got to see into the past stuff that we've been through. We've gone through this.
We
planet.
as a collective planet, right? I was going to say the
planet.
Collective we.
We've definitely gone through some dark stuff, but we've got a lot of light coming up. So.
Well, and just talking about coming up and talking about children, talk to me a little bit about this whole indigo children, because we hear about them, and they are, you know, I guess. Talk to the audience who doesn't necessarily know what that is, because there are a lot of parents that watch this show, and they have 4 and 5-year-olds that are a little bit out there in terms of their energetic stamp, and a lot of times we label those kids as, you know, ADHD or perhaps autistic or perhaps. So talk to me a little bit, if you can explain to the audience, who are the indigo children and why should we be excited?
And the ADHD are just tuned into a higher dimension, ADHD, higher dimensional consciousness. I love that you brought them up because they are my purpose. Actually, the star children of this planet are my purpose. The star children are also older.
Okay.
So we got the new age kids, and then I'm a star child as well who didn't know I was a star child. And when you are a star child who is not an indigo child, same idea, and you are not properly treated with a loving heart space, you actually can shut the child down. So what's important right now is that we're very aware of the words we're using. The kids are more sensitive now than they've ever been. Some of them are going to be other types. So the indigo kids are hybrids. So they are here from the universe to serve our new world. So some of them will be focused on technology. Some of them will be focused on art. Some of them will be focused on, they'll want to be a show person. They'll want to be on a stage. I mean, every kid's going to be different. You're going to have some that want to just be completely behind the scenes. It's really magical what we're stepping into because we're awakening to the the fact that all of what we've been taught might not be real. So that's kind of cool to retrain ourselves.
And I think on that note, and I appreciate that very much, you kind of, for some reason when you were talking, you were reminding me of Eckhart Tolle and the whole idea behind a new earth. And the fact that we spend so much time, regardless of what dimension you're playing in, and Michelle's playing in the 12th right now, okay? But regardless of what dimension you're in, there is so much time and energy that we spend either projecting into the future or living in the past.
Yeah.
How important is living in the moment for you?
It's the most important thing. It is the most important thing. The past is here to teach us. The future is here to guide us. But the moment is the only, when God's time intersects linear time, that is the only time that's real. Yeah. And the star children and indigo children of the world actually have a little bit of struggle with time. So they may be late to work. They may be not on time because they're not fully in this dimension, that this time-space reality, because they're awakening. They're awakening to the reality that they can send their light body anywhere. It's really magical. We could go really deep with this.
And I was going to say, and the thing is, for those of you who may be watching that resonate with what Michelle is saying, you're going to be sitting there at home going, oh my gosh, I know what she's talking about. I'm feeling that shift. I'm feeling that energy. Some of you may be saying, I don't have a clue what the heck she's talking about. Regardless, I think it's important to just recognize that the quantum field, and it's been proven by physics and science. So even if you don't want to go the woo-woo space, there is now scientific proof that there are, that really the entire world is made up of light waves.
Yeah.
And it's the light wave that we're passing through to each other that we're actually feeling.
Yeah.
And that's why sometimes you repel or get repelled by someone else because they're literally playing at a different light frequency than the other person. Yeah. So here you are, you awakened, you had this moment, and you figure, I'm starting to see light, I'm starting to see vibration, I'm starting to tap into something that is a little bit different than what I'm used to. Then what? How do you shift out of that dark place into a place where you are now co-producing the #1 conference in America? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. That's
so how does someone go from crumbled up version of them to, hey there, this is what I am, this is what I do, and oh, by the way, this is my personal truth. Because I think of all the things you've done, this is one of the most important and impactful, and I really genuinely believe you are only getting started because you have a message to share and a world that is really fiending to hear it.
Yeah. It is an amazing story. When I was going through my awakening, I started seeing the stars. They said, you want to see a light show? We'll give you a light show. They start sending down energy, and I see it. So I see the stars. They say, we're falling for you. The stars fell for you. And I see the stars coming down closer. And this is in 2015, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, this is crazy. And all of a sudden, I had 5 people just on my mind. Like, I could not stop thinking about them. And I hadn't seen or heard from any of them in like 3 years. I disappeared for 3 years in a very dark space. And it was like my mom, my dad, my brother, my best friend of 10 years, and then Ryan Long. And I was like, Ryan Long? Who's Ryan Long? And I had to go look him up. And I'm like, I knew him. So I looked, and I met him on a Craigslist ad in 2010 to promote club events when he was just a club promoter. And I'm like, why am I thinking of this guy, Ryan Long? And my guides end up...
Mom, dad, brother, best friend, and some random
guy. And I was just so confused. And so I ended up reaching out, and we ended up meeting. And I of course, I'm so... At this point, I'm like, okay, so did you know anything about nanotechnology? I don't even know how he still talked to me, because I was like, I went out...
You were super crazy.
And was like... And I just laid it all out. I just vomited all of my downloads about nanotechnology, the New World Order, all of the different things, the lights. Can you see what I see? Can you hear? I mean, and patient as can be, listened, appreciated. And a little bit of time went by, and I just decided that I would send off, hey, I'm amazing. You need an angel? You need a light worker? And he ended up calling and asking me. He said, I specifically need you.
Wow.
So I specifically need you, and I do believe that is God working in and through both of us to serve the mission. And what I love the most about this mission is it's all about the hearts. It's about Ryan's heart. It's about mine. It's about the hearts of the people.
So just to back up for people that aren't familiar with who Ryan is and who you are and what you're doing, Ryan is the visionary behind the City Summit and City Gala Conference that takes place. Actually, there's multiple conferences, seminars. It's become national, but part of the mission. And this was Ryan's vision, largely propelled by your support of it and all the gifts that you bring to it.
Thank you.
And of course, you have a really powerful, strong team. But part of the thing I think that differentiates this conference from so many others out there is this is not just a business conference. This is not just a, hey, come and get motivated conference. This is a team that is putting a conference together and then spinning it with so much philanthropy, so much heart, so much giving back. Can you talk a little bit about the work that your team does with the different organizations that you give back to, and also the real pivotal community give back of these Thursday morning calls that you're having with charitable organizations? Because I think that's really important to highlight as well. So I'm going to bump that to you.
Cool.
Go.
So our city gala is a nonprofit. The city summit is a for-profit. So I'll focus on the nonprofit aspect of things. This is my favorite part. We are what I call an umbrella nonprofit. So we oversee a bunch of nonprofits who are doing phenomenal work to eradicate the unconscious space that we've been in our planet. So they're working on eradicating sex trafficking. They're working on eradicating homelessness. One of them, United Intentions, is actually focused on shifting the mindset of the kids ahead of time.
Intentions, Mr. Tim
Ray. He's fantastic.
Friend of ours. I love you, Tim.
Journey's Dream. Me too, Tim. Journey's Dream. Journey's Dream is they're working on believing that all mental health can be healed without having to be on medication for the rest of your life. So all of these people are working on eradicating the challenges that face our planet. And what I really love is the feeling of the calls. When we get on the calls, they are so excited to learn.
So what you do is you have built a platform. It's the City Gala has built a platform, that team, as an umbrella to have weekly calls, literally weekly calls, where they train and support other nonprofits in really growing their positions and their messaging and their impact. And this is something that you do out of the time and effort of you and your team and Ryan and the rest of them to give back to the community so that exponentially it will continue to grow.
Yeah. This project is limitless. This project is endless. It is a goal of unity. The foundation that the nonprofit is called Global Unity Foundation. We have a strong desire to serve the underserved, love the underloved, teach the undertaught, but really just be okay with where we are right now and start moving forward into a more beautiful direction where we are able to just help each other heal and lift each other up and know that there's hope and that with God all things are possible.
Well, and I love your story because all things are absolutely possible. You have this dark period. You go through literally an awakening where, again, you're seeing, feeling, tapping into something very, very different. The third dimension for a lot of people is made up of heavy energy around scarcity, fear, anxiety, lack, competition, and a shift collectively as the consciousness shifts and more people come to the table with an intention to interact differently. And people like yourself are spearheading that. Then we can and do and will move to a place where the energy we're emitting is coming from a place of collaboration and creativity and love and all of that is just permeates all around you. So here she is. She wakes up. She thinks, I got to find this random dude. I'm going to call him. I'm going to Google him from 10 years ago. I'm going to show up to his place. He then feels whatever's going on here and says, yes, please align with me. And together, over the past few years, in a very, very, very short time, you have both jumped onto the scene. Again, I'm going to add a little bit of the celebrity feel here, people, because I want you to get a real sense of what they've created. Not for the celebrity element, but because when you are aligned, truly aligned with, what's the word? With really just the heart space, people will feel that they will come to the table. So people that have shown up in support of past galas for you have been some of the Hollywood A-listers people. So Ashton Kutcher, Halle Berry, Matthew McConaughey, what's the dancing dude? What's his name? John Travolta.
We had Russell Simmons, Quincy Jones. But in general, yes.
You've got to remember these are random people that showed up out of nowhere, and all of a sudden they have Hollywood clamoring to be a part of their vision. So that's not a little thing.
And what I love knowing is that Hollywood is actually shifting and noticing that all of their celebrities are actually the ones in the audience. So if you ever feel that you're not noticed, you're noticed. You're appreciated. You're wise. We're waking up. This is an exciting time, and please come to our event. It will help you to wake up. The energy and the metaphysical work we do for the location.
You have on stage, some of the speakers.
Katerina.
Well, no, not me. I was thinking of Alon Torres.
Oh, Alon, great.
He's gonna just rock that world that weekend. I'm super excited about that. He's actually, for those of you that want to make media matter for your business and for your brand and for your message, the way Michelle is, Alon is actually on Focus TV this morning on La La Land.
Oh, cool.
So super excited about that for him. I'm going to be joining those
great.
folks over there next week, but super great. I do want to come back to one thing before we talk about the gala, because we want to promote that a little bit. It's a fantastic event. What would you say to anyone watching that may be thinking they're living incorrectly, they're living wrong, they've been told by society that there's something wrong with them?
Well, I think I'm going to go a little religious, I guess, here, because I feel the best way for me to do anything is not that anything I did was wrong, but going, okay, something in my body didn't feel right. Can I just give it all up to you? Can I ask you to lift it all off of me? I don't know. I can acknowledge that I haven't lived 100% into my heart space, and I just ask that you lift anything. I think in some religions they call it repenting. Okay. So I just ask God to lift things off of me. And I want to share as well, some people, just so you know, part of the activation and awakening of the consciousness will put you into the dark space. And what happens, you can see with the rise in suicide, is some people go in the dark space and they don't realize that that seed is being planted and it's about to explode and create something amazing. And they don't wait for the seed to explode and create something amazing. I myself did lose a brother to suicide. So it is something that did hit my family very powerfully. And to be honest, I'm so thankful. It was the most noble suicide. My brother is still very present with me. I just made my first YouTube video sharing deep into my story, and he was sitting there holding my left hand. And it's a magical place when you realize that those people who are part of your family are just shifting into another dimension to help serve you as well. So if you ever feel like you don't belong, if you feel like you've done something wrong, just acknowledge who you are and acknowledge what a light worker you really are. And I just like to know that we could do better tomorrow than we did today. Yeah. That's all.
And that tomorrow can come to us from a space of excitement, because we really don't know what's going to happen. We don't know who is going to ring our phone at 2:00. We don't know who we're going to meet at the coffee shop at 4. We don't know what voice we're going to hear that we need to go Google from 10 years ago. That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for having me.
City Summit and Gala, the conference is coming up on February 21st. 21st, 22nd, 23rd is the conference portion, and the evening of the Oscars, February 24th, City Gala, which is one of the highlight parties to attend in Hollywood that evening. Massive gala, big red carpet, Hollywood celebs, the whole thing, and it's going to be a celebration of all of the goodness and the charitable work and the philanthropic work that so many people are doing. You are co-leading this entire effort, and I want to really thank you for that.
Thank you.
Big shout out to Mr. Ryan Long, who also is such a very special person. I want to commend you for coming here and starting to share your truth, because it's one thing to talk about the conference, it's one thing to talk about being homeless, it's one thing to talk about, hey, I'm seeing little stars and voices and it's okay. And I really wanted to have this conversation with you to allow some people that may be in that space right now to feel that it's okay and to get really excited about the possibility of what your life can turn into.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And also it's exciting to just know that not all of us are here to do the same thing. And I was trying so hard to live to try to be like all of you phenomenal beings. I'm not here to be like you. I'm here to be like me. So thank you for allowing me a space to just vibrate just as I am. So.
Yes. And just as you are is how we love you. How can people find just you?
I have an email, Michelle, Michelle at citygala.org, citygala.org, or facebook.com/ohlady, OHLADY.
Oh,
lady. That was my old B.
Well, you are a beautiful person. I am
you.
so thankful that I have come into your world and vice versa. I am very grateful for the space that you hold for so many people. And it is expanding exponentially, and I know that we are just seeing the tiny tip of who this woman is, what she's going to do, and where she is going to help lead this planet as the consciousness continues to elevate. I thank you so much for being here.
I thank you, Katerina.
We thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week. Take care, guys.
I love you.
I love you too. Oh, so good.
You're listening to LA40 with Katerina Cozias, only on LA Talk Radio.